Cape communities are still recovering from torrential rain that wreaked havoc and left many people displaced. Residents have also been struggling with raw sewage spilling into their homes, something made worse by the ongoing rain. Underground cables have also been affected, causing longer power cuts, leaving residents without electricity for days on end. Even though the rain has eased, freezing conditions have set in. The Cogta MEC in the province, Zolile Williams, joins me now to give us an update on what's been happening and how the government has been assisting communities. Thank you so much for your time this evening, MEC. We do appreciate it. I believe it's freezing cold in the Eastern Cape. I'm very glad I'm not there. But maybe just tell us what the situation is like now. As much as the rain has eased, many people are displaced and are in desperate need of assistance.
Good evening, Heidi, and good evening to the viewers. Well, Heidi, it's indeed freezing in the Eastern Cape. It's very cold, and one must really feel for those communities that are still displaced, especially in Nelson Mandela Metro. Well, about 1,000 members of the community have been affected, Heidi, by flash floods of last weekend. We would remember, Heidi, that Nelson Mandela has been affected by drought for the past 8 years. And since then, there's been a struggle for water. They were approaching day zero, to be exact. Now, the sewer lines, because of lack of water, all the sewer lines are blocking, pump stations are not in working order because they were approaching day zero, so there was no sufficient water to run in the system. You would imagine that challenge that our communities have faced due to lack of water. Now, what has happened, Heidi, is that these flash floods have affected especially informal settlements. And informal settlements in their majority in Nelson Mandela are not well planned because people have decided, because of lack of housing, to construct their own houses without proper planning. Now, those areas where some of these are established are below the flood line and causing challenges when huge rainfalls like we have experienced last week are experienced in that area. So what we have done as a short-term measure is to try and persuade some of the community members, allow us to destroy some of the shacks so that we can be able to channel the water away from those informal settlements, and also repair streets that did not have stormwater channels so that those streets can not be the causal factor for those communities to experience a damming of water. And then the other problem, Heidi, was in respect of stormwater drainage, which were blocked. One would imagine that they may have not been serviced properly by the municipality, but after interacting with the municipality and the team, we agreed on those short-term measures to quickly attend to those, such that water has begun to be well controlled now, and some of the members of the communities are getting back to their homes because of how we've attended to the challenge.
Okay, so I mean, you're dealing with a lot at the moment. I want to ask you what is being done, though, to assist those 1,000 community members that have been affected. Have you provided accommodation or housing for them for the time being? And then we'll get into the issue of those that are living in those dangerous areas, what assistance is being provided for them. But what is being done for now, especially for those that have been displaced, that don't have homes, that have nowhere to go, that have lost everything?
Well, Heidi, we have accommodated all those people in various community centers in Nelson Mandela. And what we have done, provision for bedding in terms of mattresses has been provided to them. We're working together with the South African Social Development Agency, SASA. We're working with the Gift of the Givers. Private businesses like ShopRite, like Spa in Daku have also intervened. Our Department of Social Development is there. The municipality is there. All of us are part of that, Heidi, and we've provided meals to those communities, meals, and the Department of Health has been on site to attend to chronic patients so that we can begin to assuage their conditions, and we're doing all we can, Heidi, to make them feel better. But as you would know, no one would accept being outside her own house during this winter time. So we're trying all we can, but some, because of these short-term interventions, some people have already went back home. There are some that are still in the community centers, and we're hopeful that as these rains are subsiding now, we're hopeful that tomorrow, after assessments, of course, then some may have to go back home again.
Okay, I've run out of time, but I just have to ask this question. Have you been receiving any pushback from community members? You've spoken about demolishing these areas, trying to do some repair, just to make these homes and these areas conducive, especially if you are expecting more rainfall. Have you received pushback from these communities? And I ask this in the context of the fact that oftentimes during flooding, and when there are these situations, we've seen it in KZN, where community members say they've been left in the lurch and they've been left unsettled after flooding, with the government just leaving them in community halls and providing no alternative solutions.
No, not at all, Heidi. Those people are cooperative. We have interacted with them directly. And in fact, they were proposing to us that they would want to be relocated from that area to be placed in areas where they could have better residential sites. And we are very pleased with that positive attitude that they have shown us. And there's a need there, Heidi. I cannot really avoid this one. There's a need for housing there. And you'll see that we're suffering a problem of water challenges, water shortages, such that they were engaged in water rationing. So we have engaged with them to say they must choose what sanitation short-term mechanism would be acceptable to them in view of lack of water. So those people are very cooperative. We ask them direct questions whether they're ready to be relocated, and they gave us a big yes.
Okay, fantastic. Well, we'll see what happens in the week to come. Thank you so much for your time this evening. We do appreciate it. That was the Eastern Cape Cogta MEC Zolile Williams speaking to us about the interventions there in the Eastern Cape due to some severe rainfall.